Hey, it's Miss Gwen. This is the beginning of the Mental Library devlogs. I have had a lot of ideas in my noggin, and they need to exist out in the world. And really this entire channel has been me starting that and getting my art out there. If you notice in my bio on this channel, I'm an aspiring indie game developer and can't really be a game developer if I don't develop games. So what needs to happen first is reproducing this entire thing. So what I'm doing right now is I'm making Google Doc because I'm not fancy, I'm not bougie, I don't have Word, I don't like Word. Mental Library. Oh. Writing the damn thing. There we go. Document named. So my goal for this game is to make a lot of progress on it in 2026, and I'm just gonna leave it there. So this is just me actually writing the damn thing. So first I'm gonna write the narrative because a lot of my games are gonna be narrative based. I plan on doing a third-person point-and-click adventure horror narrative thingy, which if you know the indie horror gaming space, this is a familiar format, taking inspiration from Fran Bow and Sally Face and games like that. Like, outline the plot. I'm not trying to be too ambitious, but I want to make something really cool. So all that to say, the story is short, so outlining and writing it shouldn't be an issue. I've started, fun fact, concept art for it already. There's some in various places. I have some on my iPad, but I have this sketchbook now that I decorated. Wow! I don't know if you can see any of that, but it's there. It exists, and this game takes place in the 90s, so we have all of these cute little 90s kids. I've had such a fun time with it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start, well, what this document says, writing the damn thing. Come with me, because basically it's writing and doing the concept art. I'm sure there are other pre-production things I'm gonna have to do, but that's the bulk of it. And learning to use Game Maker. I'm gonna try to use Game Maker. I attempted learning Unreal, and by attempted learning Unreal, I mean I opened Unreal, saw that it was big and scary, and haven't opened it since. So we'll see. I hear Game Maker is a lot easier to learn, and it's a 2D platform, so that makes it better. Anyways, let's write it. What's her name? I don't have a name for her coworker or her boss, technically. I don't know whether I'm gonna make it her coworker or her boss. I could see it going either way, but I have a whole list here of names for this character, and I don't know which one to choose. I think my three favorites right now are Gertrude / Gertie as like a nickname, Winifred and Winnie as a nickname, and then Geraldine are some of my favorites. As a reminder, this is this character. So she's gonna kind of serve as like clue master, where if the player gets stuck on a puzzle, then they come to insert name here and she'll give them like a clue. So you play as Heather, and she's this library aide and finish work, and that's kind of where the story starts. And so I could see, you know, going to ask questions about where something is, and then she'll give you some kind of like vague clue. Now that I think about it, it's kind of like Amanda the Adventurer, the second one. It's a similar environment to that. What in the world her name is? I guess I'll put a placeholder for now. How about you? You know what? Sound off in the comments. What should I name coworker lady? She's a woman in her like late 60s, early 70s, and this is the 90s. So I asked my mom, I'm like, hey, mother who lived through the 90s, what are some names of old women in the 90s? And so then she listed off just a bunch of names, and there's some of them are really good. Again, just as a reminder, I've liked Gertrude, Winifred, and Geraldine. So between those three names, which ones do you guys like? I'm torn because I think they're all great. And honestly, I'm going to keep this list for the future. Yeah, what should I name her? Turn back on. There we go. Back to whenever else my existence is. Act 2. Mark is missing. Asks, what's her face if she's seen Mark? That's right. There you go. That's how I spell Mark. Oh boy. I'm thinking there's gonna be 3 main puzzles that have something to do with the library itself. Because like earlier in the game, you know, you do these kind of like busy work tasks, like putting books away and organizing stuff. I think I can incorporate that into a puzzle, because if you have worked at a library, which I have, which is kind of the inspiration for this game, is my job, part of my job is putting away library books that have been checked back in. So, as you may know, there is a decimal system that the nonfiction books are based on, and then from there it is in alphabetical order by author. And so whatever the topic is has a decimal associated with it, and then from there there's going to be multiple books under that topic, and so then you do like a thing, right? I think it would be interesting if there was a puzzle based on that system. There's a name of a guy, decimal system, whatever it is, I forget. Hold on, actually, let me look it up real quick so I know I'm not talking out my butt. Dewey Decimal System, that's what it is. The Dewey Decimal System. Classification devised by Melville Dewey in 1873. Fun fact for you. So then what I could do is like have the decimals, but then the letters of like the first 2 letters of the last name like spell something out. I think that would be really interesting to do. Basically, you would use the decimal system in the nonfiction section to figure out. Oh, wait, hold on. Earlier in the game, I have the player go to 3 different areas for 3 different mini games that are going to kind of inform some of the puzzles. And I have adult fiction, kids, and then nonfiction. The Dewey Decimal System is kind of like a nonfiction thing. I could probably mirror that early game. So like I have this puzzle that's in nonfiction. So then if I have a puzzle that's in kids, then if I had a puzzle that was in like adult fiction, then that could work too. I could see there being a toy, like a kid's toy puzzle. I know at the library I work at, there's these like gears that you can stick to a whiteboard that's like a magnet, so a kid can like do this whole chain of gears and then like turn it, and maybe it does something or unlocks something, or there's like a secret compartment. Who knows? I can do some pretty wacky things with this game because Heather's sanity comes into question a lot through this game. That's probably the most intimidating part of writing this, is the puzzles, because I really like puzzles. I can make puzzles. It just takes me such a long time. But I think I'm onto something. I had a puzzle that fit with adult fiction. Because see, I don't know what that would be. Because then there's the end game, because that's Act 3, where basically then she discovers the truth. You've got a solid start, I think. And see, what if, here's a thought, what if, hold on, wait a minute, I had an idea. I have to hurry. I don't have much time. No, my phone ran out of storage. I'll have to get a camera at some point. If you own a camera and have suggestions, let me know, because I'm broke and I need a camera that can do my YouTube stuff. Apparently. I had this epiphany. Because the game has to end in the media center. I say media center. Because usually in libraries there's like a section where there's like DVDs. In the 90s, there weren't really DVDs. I looked it up. DVDs were invented in 1995 and did not get to America-ish until 1997. Though I say that like this world is on the same wavelength as ours. It's not. It's just a random, you know, just like it's world doesn't follow the same rules. So, but all that to say, there's going to be a section in the game where there's like the VHS tapes, and I can't tell you why, but the game has to end in the room with the VHS tapes. So I need the player, aka Heather, to be in the media room at some point. So I switched out the adult fiction for the media room, and then I can have like a puzzle with VHS tapes. Now, is it cheesy that there's another horror game that implements VHS tapes? Kind of. But it fits here. You know what doesn't fit? Having VHS tapes randomly scattered in a toy factory that you can only use on TVs of the same color. That's dumb. And then also, what's with VHS tapes being used so much in indie horror? There's no need. Okay, switch it up a little bit. Have a USB drive or a DVD. I don't know. Like, also, there's like I don't want to. Like, there's the random like letter pages. If I put random letter pages in any of my games, just give me a really hard time about it, because I don't want to do that. It makes no sense. Then again, I say it like this, any of this makes sense. It doesn't. Yeah. Okay, so then there's the end game, where then I get to break everyone's hearts. It's bittersweet, really. I want to make someone cry. That would be great if I could bring tears upon another individual, like the emotional sadist I am. That would bring me joy. If I could make myself cry, that'd be great. I need to. Anyways, I also want to write the dialogue bits, because Heather talks with her coworker, some of the kids that are there. I keep the scope small. Itty bitty plot committee, you know? We carry on. Yeah. So now we get handheld Gwen mode, because that's annoying to put my phone into. I also had to change my shirt because I realized that the shirt I was wearing had the logo of a college on it, and I just don't want locations tied to anything. So I changed shirts to help editing me later, and I'm sure editing me will be appreciative that she doesn't have to censor all of the footage. Yeah, thanks. That took me forever. And better safe than sorry. Carry on. I'm already mad that I didn't catch it before I started recording. So in Google Docs, you can make different tabs for a file versus having it all in one document, if that makes sense. And so what I'm doing is I have one folder for my narrative outline, which I've started and nearly completed. I have a section for character dialogue, and then I have a section for object description. So the object descriptions being like when you click on something and it's like, oh, here's this thing. So that'll be fun. I've gotten a good chunk done, and I'll check in once I've made some more progress. It's going great. Alright, so I got a lot of concept art done. Let's review. We've got our Clue Master slash Heather's boss. We've got the 90s kids that are in the library. I have to pick 3 of these NPCs to actually be in the game. I also did some level design. Down here is the layout of the library. As it stands right now, this is version 1. It may be subject to change as I make a prototype of this. Here's more level design. I made these little slides. This like frame here is what will actually follow the player across this landscape here. And basically how navigation is going to work is it's kind of in this box grid style where you're basically circling a perimeter around the walls of the library. The middle of the library is just a little mystery, I guess. You may notice there's some little icon clicker things as usual. I took a lot of inspiration from Fran Bow and how she has the hand. Fran Bow isn't the only one, but it's the one that I think of off the top of my head. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this video here. Thank you so much for watching. We really did put a huge dent in the pre-production, and off screen I've been watching videos about Game Maker and it seems a lot more straightforward than Unreal Engine. So yeah, I think some of the next steps are to get some digital art made, at least some stand-in assets, make a prototype on Game Maker. Once I get back home, I mean, I am home for the holidays, but back at my dorm, I have my big computer, not just my laptop, where I can get Game Maker working and actually prototype it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to put in the comments which name to choose for a boss lady. As a reminder, these are the 3 names that I liked the most, and of these 3 names, which one do you guys like? I think whichever comment I see the most of will be what her name is. It'd be great if you guys could name her, if the community could name her, that would be fun. So yeah, this is the start of Mental Library. I hope you want to see more devlogs, because they're coming. Other things I do on my channel is art-related content, and we'll be doing more devlogs, and I'd like to dip my tootsies into gameplay videos. I have a list of games I want to play on the channel, so that will be really fun. Now I will see you in The next one, have a lovely day. I am awkward out loud, and this, I'll see you later.